Twins of Reddit, what is your most awkward awesome wrong twin story? Identical twin here attending the same college as my twin brother. I was walking with my girlfriend at the time during my freshman year. And another girl approached me and said, "Oh, so this is why you didn't want to call me back." I didn't know this girl. But it also didn't register at the time that she was referring to my twin, so I assume ghosted her. I told this girl she must be mistaken. And she says, "No, I know it's Yao, we met in the dorms." And then it clicked for me. So I explained that she was confusing me for my twin brother. But the most awkward part is that she didn't believe a word I was saying and thought I was just using the twin story to try to get rid of her. I had her call me at the time and show her that my phone wasn't ringing and that she was calling my twin. My girlfriend was upset at first, but then basically realized the humor in the situation as it was unfolding. Me and my twin are both in the same major at the same school. I'm told we stand out a bit and are quite recognizable cause people see us all over and never realize we're twins. Anyways, on one of my trips to college a couple months back, I had a guy come up to me and confess how much he looked up to me about how I always sit in the front, show up every day and seem smart and always do well. He was talking about my brother cause I didn't show up to class too often. My grandparents were getting us ready for kindergarten. They put the wrong name tags on us but we did not notice. I was just sitting in class and all of a sudden the teacher goes, "My brother's name. You're in the wrong class." We had different teachers. She brings me to my brother's classroom and takes him to hers. I was so scared I didn't say anything. And I felt like I did something wrong. After a few minutes I was so freaked out about being in an unfamiliar place and seeing all the strange faces I started crying. My brother's kindergarten teacher figured out what was wrong and sent us back to our real classrooms. Me and my twin are fraternal and look nothing alike. I dated a girl whose twin was a life drawing model on campus. Guys were always approaching her when they mistook her and assumed that since they had seen her nude, she was easy. We were in middle school. I was on the school bus and heard someone call my twin brother's name Jay. I turn and see his girlfriend extremely upset. And she slaps me right across the face. I was just dumbfounded and didn't say a word as she walked away. I passed the message along to him later with a much harder slap. Good times. I'm the brother of older, identical twins, and during the eldest's wedding, J, his twin, P, and myself were his groomsmen. Semicolon. As part of this, we were greeting guests as they arrived, shaking their hands and saying welcome, etc. It didn't take long for guests to start congratulating P on his wedding, causing him to laugh and correct them. At first, a lot of G's wife's family were from overseas, so they certainly hadn't met P before and may not have even known that J had a twin. So once they started arriving, it became a constant stream of people congratulating P on his wedding. Eventually he stopped correcting them and just slightly awkwardly saying thanks. Full stop. Congrats on your wedding. Thanks. The bride doesn't know she's marrying me yet. This was my dad's story. But he and my uncle look exactly alike, to the point where their wives of 2+ decades have confused them. When they were in college, my dad was the lead in a show and my uncle came to see it opening night. My uncle saw his chance and, while my dad was in the bathroom, burst through the curtains and said, "That's it. I've had it. I can't work with these people anymore," and stormed off. The director was basically shitting himself. Nobody knew that my dad had a twin until my dad came back and, once he saw everyone's faces, basically said, "Yeah, my twin is coming tonight. He messed with y'all, right?" My twin had recently joined the Navy and was at boot camp. I, on the other hand, was walking around the grocery store when a man came running up to me in a panic. He began to shout, "What in the hell are you doing here? You're going to go to federal prison." A bit shocked, I assumed it was just some crazy person and started to back away, but he followed. So I said, "Sir, I don't know what you're talking about." He then proceeded to say my twin's name and then I started laughing. He still very panicked and now angry asked why I thought this was funny. I explained I am such and such's twin. He didn't believe me until I finally pulled my ID out to prove I was who I said I was. He then apologized and explained he was her enlisting officer and was very concerned when he saw me. Why were you off base without leave? Private scum? Sir. The mess hall doesn't serve Fruit Loops so I went to buy some. Sir. Edit. Fruit. Not fruit. I've got a twin who works at Starbucks. I always get an employee discount. You should check out the documentary 3 Identical Strangers. My twin brother and I were counselors at a summer camp. We were in different huts so we led different age kids for a week. Whenever I would pass the kids he was counseling or vice versa, they would scream confused and ask many questions. Once you're an adult, you'll all start to look the same. Had a co-worker who had kids 5 years before his twin. He started looking so much older people just assumed he was an older brother. Guys at the gym would come up to him thinking he was the other brother and tell Hook he looked like Shti. Other way around. 2. Guys would come up to his brother and tell him he looked great thinking it was my friend. The difference was crazy. I'm not a twin, but I'm dating one. I came up behind my girlfriend's sister and smacked her ass. They share clothes sometimes and look exactly alike, especially from behind. It was so awkward that I have to say my girlfriend's name to confirm it's really her. They share clothes. That's just unfair. I'm a teacher and when I was student teaching there were twin girls. They were super cute and very hard to tell apart. I finally got to the point where I could tell which was which. One morning I confidently called them by their names. But they corrected me. I made note of what they were wearing and kept them straight the rest of the morning. While we were going over our lessons and I called on twin A, she began to cry and said I'm not twin A, I'm twin B. They decided that they were going to switch on us that morning. But then got upset when we called them the wrong name. We laughed so hard about it after the fact and their mom was appalled that they were already switching places in kindergarten. Had a buddy from the scatter park who had a twin. This guy and I would always shitty talk each other. One day I see him and walk up to him. What's up dipshitty? The FCK you dressed like that for? It's not gonna make your busted ass skate any better. Excuse me? You go deaf too, dumbus? He gets in my face and starts asking what my problem is. I'm laughing the entire time thinking we're playing a game. Until he shoves me hard. I fall backwards and look at him and yell Sean. The FCK man? His face completely changed. I'm Shane dude. Sean's twin. I didn't know he had a twin. Next time I see Sean he cracks up. Heard my brother almost beat your ass. I have some triplet friends who all still live in the same town. The funniest story they had was that apparently all 3 of them impregnated their respective wives within a 2-year span and all 3 wives chose the same obgyn. The OB didn't know the names of the husbands. Only saw the last name, baby in the woman's name. All 3 said the OB was super rude and mean to them until finally triplet 1 and triplet 2 had appointments back to back. The OB came in and saw both of them. Did a double take. And asked there's more than one of you? They of course replied. Yeah. There's 3. We're triplets. I guess this OB thought one guy had impregnated 3 different women and was just rolling with his adultery. I'm a nanny. Took care of 7-year-old identical twin boys. Names started with D and B. After school. One day they decided to wear the same clothes to see who they could trick. When they got off the bus they tried to get me to tell them apart. I stalled by having them stand side by side so I could really look at their faces. After less than a minute they started elbowing each other. Then one said, B. Stop. And they both knew the gig was up. Edit. I attempted to fix the 7 identical toddlers problem. And y'all are hilarious with these D and B names. I'll tell you that at least one of these guesses is half right. This isn't the wrong twin story you probably meant, but it's mine lol. So my twin and I are fraternal. We don't look alike at all. He's a guy. I'm a girl, so there is that too. So we are at an arcade place. They have laser tag. My brothers and I are waiting on a bench for our turn when a couple comes walking by, stops and asks, "Are you guys twins?" I jump up excited saying yes, finally someone realizes we are twins, how awesome. Their faces are completely blank. My twin goes, no, I think they meant me and younger brother. So like I said, we don't look anything alike. Also, I'm 5'5" and my twin is 6'1". Lots of times people ask, are you all actually related? MT twin and I went to the same uni but different campuses. One day she was at my campus for a lecture and one of my teachers spotted her. He went up to her and tried to convince her to go to his office to discuss one of the projects I was working on. She obviously freaked out and said she wasn't me. I ended up receiving an email from him saying he met my sister and accidentally scared her. We also used to work for the same company but different floors and departments. So many random people would say hello to me. I have major resting bitch face, so they would always say that my sister was in a foul mood. Took them a while to twig there was two of us. My mom is an identical twin, and when my aunt would come to visit they would wear the same clothes and pick me up from daycare. Multiple times I cried because I could never figure out which one was really my mom. Shts traumatizing. I am an identical twin and my brother and I were at homecoming. Both wearing basically the same outfit because there is really only one kind of blazer and white button down. It was dark at the after party. His date thought I was my brother and tried to start dancing with me. Had to awkwardly say wrong person. Not me. But I'm best friends with identical twins and we hang out a lot. Well, we made plans one time to go see a movie. But when I got there, one of them wasn't there. I thought the one that was there was the one who stayed home the entire time we were together. When we were saying bye I addressed her as the other one and she was like, bro, WTF. I'm Emily. In my school, we do punches, aka little hole punches in a card, and if you get 10 punches, you get a reward. So my math teacher gives me a punch if she calls me by my twin's name. So she called me by my twin's name. Then she is like, oh, gotta give you a punch, then said, is this your desk? Twin's name? I corrected her again and ended up getting a lunch party. She didn't even have my twin. It has happened at least 6 times this year. Edit. This is in my 6th grade year. P surprised this got us much karma and attention. Thank you guys. My sister worked at Walmart for a few weeks before I started working there too. We had a few fun moments. The first one was my first day. She had an earlier shift and just as I was going to go in the back door she was coming out. So no one knew she was a twin, and here was an identical person trying to go through the door at the same time. Without think I yelled, we are never supposed to be in the same place at the same time. Then I ran away. Everyone was freaked out. My other favorite thing to do was to mess with people she had just helped in electronics. They would ask, hey, didn't I just see you? And I'd answer, no. I've been here all day. It was fun. Edit. So I have a twin sister, let's call her K, and K is engaged to T. One night I went on a Tinder date to the movies. Throughout the movie this guy and I were getting close and snuggly and whatnot. The next day a server at the restaurant T owns asked to talk to him. She proceeded to tell him she saw his girlfriend K at the movies last night with another guy and that she thinks K is cheating. He told her that was impossible as K was with him all night the night before. He then realized that she must have seen me at the movies and explained to the waitress the whole twin situation. It's one of my favorite stories to tell. Edit for spelling. I worked with twins and a couple times one was in the back window cashiering and the other was in the front window handing out food, so people would get to the next window only to be greeted by the same person and freak out a little. My twin and I went to different high school for our junior year. That's another story. We lived in the same city so we were only 15 minutes from each other. We always got together on the weekends and went to parties and such. We were at this one house party and with a number of our friends. This dude comes up to me and gets right in my face asking if I had a problem. I had no clue who this guy was. Told him I don't know him and back off. He keeps going on about if I have a problem with him. My brother walks into the room, gentle moves me aside and said, "Bitch, I have a problem with you. Leave my brother out of this." Dude was confused to say the least. A fight was avoided that night. I guess it started during school where they bumped shoulders in the hall and my brother didn't apologize. Dude was a senior and we were juniors. Petty crap. Not a twin. But I had that excuse used against me. I dated a twin pretty seriously for a while. Got on really well with his family who was super welcoming because I was normal compared to his underage, actually psychotic ex. We hung out with his twin brother and the brother's girlfriend all the time. After things got serious, a few times people told me they saw my boyfriend with another girl downtown or at the movies. I'd ask him what was up and he was always like, "Nope. Must have seen my brother." Turns out he never broke it off with the psycho and it went on for months. I got a text from a friend saying they saw him at the mall when I thought he was at work. So I went to the mall and parked right next to him. Texted him while he was at work and waited for him to come out. His parents were so mad at his stupidity they kicked him out of the house and then invited me over for tea and apologies. My older twin brothers don't have Reddit, so I'll tell the story. But once, the married twin's wife was having a small medical procedure and her husband was unable to pick her up. So my other brother was going to pick her up. In her amnesia state she was 100% convinced that the brother that picked her up was her husband. Even when her actual husband came home from work. She was very upset that my brother would not kiss her or tell her he loved her, lol. Eventually they got her to go to sleep and when she woke up she figured it all out. Too bad shortly after she still couldn't remember who her husband was and often found herself in other beds. Must be a lasting effect. Ex-wife now. I dated a twin who was slightly shorter and cuter than his brother. Every single time I called his house, this was before cell phones were common, I'd hear his mother ask, "Are you Henry or Harry?" "Okay, awesome, mom." My youngest brothers are identical twins. When we'd go to extended family events my mom would dress them in different colors. X in blue and Y in red. Once everyone would learn who was who for the day, they would go and switch clothes and insist they were who they were. So Y in blue and X in red. Confused the shit out of everyone. Senior year I got partnered up with twin B for a class project. Both were in the IT crowd and twin A had just started dating a jock. While we were walking to the other side of the building and talking about the project, jock came out of nowhere and tried to punch me. I dodged but still took a 50% glancing blow to my ribs. Yelling the whole time, "That's my girl" for and other related comments. Twin B jumps in between of us and yells, "I'm twin B," while pointing to twin A 20 feet down the hall. With two teachers behind her. Did he then punch the teachers? That's my girlfers. Not a twin. But my sis and I look and sound pretty close. Anyways, I answer a phone call one day on the landline and there's a girl on the other side. She goes, "Bitch. What's cooking?" I immediately know it's one of my sister's friends. But I decide to play innocent and go, "Who's this?" The friend continues going, "WHRE. What the FCK are you on about? You know who the FCK I am. It's Jessica. JESS," and then I go, "I'm not. Name. I am her sister." There is sudden silence on the other side. I hear a startled giggle from another person in the room. And then the girl on the line very meekly goes, "Dot. May I speak to sister, please?" My wife is a Ukrainian triplet. So I had never really spent any time with her family. One of her sisters came to visit and was doing her makeup in the bathroom. I came up behind her and squeezed her side. She turned around red in the face and I realized I had squeezed the wrong sister. It could have been far more awkward and I'm glad it wasn't. Then once while visiting her family in Ukraine we were at her father's house and her brother lost the key, so we're all looking around the house for them. I start following her sister around who speaks no English and realize she's not speaking to me, so I keep asking, what's wrong, why are you mad, and she's ignoring me because she doesn't know what I'm saying. Then my wife walks in from another room and her sister asks her to tell me to stop bothering her. She doesn't know what I'm saying and I just look at them both dumbfounded for spending so much time thinking I'm speaking to my wife.